Why Is This Podcast?
Hi, welcome to Why Is This Podcast? It's a show where a man asks questions and other people answer them. Simple enough. My name is Jeff. I'll be your host. From time to time, I'll have guests on, but for the most part, I'll probably be flying solo. I went through several different iterations of the format on this show before I landed on what I'm doing now. And the way it started, I was thinking to myself, this is going to sound so professional, and man, I'm going to blow everybody away. Everything's going to be so clean, and it sounded so fake, so I had to start over. So I'm just going to be myself. I hope that'll be entertaining anyway. Let me let you in on who I am, okay? At the time of this recording, I'm 46 years old. I've been married for about 10 years. Between my wife and I, we have 3 sons. 2 of them are in their 20s. One of them is graduating high school pretty soon. I work full-time. I enjoy my job. I feel like I've been treated fairly there, which that's always nice. I'm a hobby musician. I'm not going to talk about the bands I'm in. That's not why I'm doing this show. I'm a rabid Star Wars fan, and, I like to walk around without my shoes on. So, there's that. And I also wanted to let you know the reason I'm even doing this show. And it's different for me because this is the first project I've ever done like this, particularly for entertainment, where I'm alone. This is my show. I'm not working with someone else. And I feel kind of naked. And it's really strange. But I spent several years trying to get over my social anxiety issues. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job, but there still are some kind of lingering insecurities that I'm trying to get over. And I think doing this show by myself is going to help me with that, because maybe it's good to feel naked sometimes. And, again, we'll see how that turns out. I also spent a long time worrying about things. How am I going to pay the bills, or what if I get fired from my job, or, what if my marriage falls apart, or what if I end up in jail for something? What if one of my kids gets sick and I can't afford to take off work? I could keep going. But a lot of those worries have gone away. Things have gotten a lot better for me over the years. And now I'm left with all this room in my head for questions and nothing to fill it. So I just have random things pop into my head. And, some of them are silly, some of them are deep, some of them are just absurd. But they're there, and I want answers. So that's why I'm asking questions. And my first question for this show, simply enough, I used to go camping a lot. I used to think I enjoyed it, but I think the reason that I did it is mainly because it was just cheaper than a hotel room. And maybe that was me being thrifty or just me being poor, but I thought it was good. And over the years, I've really gotten to where I just don't want to do it anymore. So my question is, why do people like to go camping? Maybe that'll make me interested again. I still have a tent and some other camping gear in my garage, and I never use it. So maybe this will help me, spark a little interest, in doing it again. But that one's been in my head for a little while. And let's see what kind of answers people have. We're going to start with our first caller is an anonymous caller, and he has a pretty interesting take. Let's check it out.
I think people like to go camping to get away from other people, or they like to go camping because their life is cushy and they don't ever have to rough it, and they never had to rough it. and doing things like weird cosplay or apocalyptic events or weird camping and roughing it and pretending like life is harder than it is makes people feel some sort of good way, like they're really doing something when they normally aren't doing anything. That's what I think.
All right. Thank you for your call. I think I understand what you're saying. I kind of think of that type of person in the same thought as the type of person who has, say, a $500,000 yearly income, sneaking into Walmart to buy things because it's somehow beneath them. Or maybe, you know, the person that'll, you know, flash cars that pass down the side of the road. It feels like something that they're not supposed to do. And maybe that's exciting to people somehow. I don't know. I personally, I can't think of it that way because, you know, air conditioning is awesome. Not getting rained on is awesome. And, you know, not having to live in a pile of bugs is awesome. And I don't really have that much inclination to go back to that. I spent long enough in substandard conditions. I don't want to do it on purpose. So I may be way off on that, but anyway, thank you so much for your call. Let's go to another one.
Reasons why I like to go camping. Number one, my name is Craig Johnson, and these are my reasons. The outdoors is one of them. The experience is another one. But one I like the most is I am very comfortable in my house. I have air conditioning. I have heat. But we decide to go out and struggle. We can either freeze our ass off or burn our asses up. And that's what we like about camping. And that's all Craig Johnson has to say. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you, Craig Johnson, who I imagine is from Springville, Alabama. I will see you at Band Sunday. I love hearing stuff like this. I've listened to this call probably 10 times, maybe 12, and I laugh every time I hear it. But you know, I know people like that just prefer to suffer because they feel like it makes them tougher than they are, or it makes them look tougher than they are anyway. See, when I used to go camping, you know, people have this idea that you're roughing it, you're getting out there. I used to bring crap like I'd bring a hot plate and a freaking box fan and a blow-up mattress and or a little space heater. I mean, it was ridiculous, all the things that I used to bring with me. So it wasn't really camping. It was like I was trying to bring a hotel room with me. I don't have any inclination to go out and suffer. You know, I prefer being comfortable. But Craig Johnson makes an interesting point. Some people just like to have it hard, just so they can say they have it hard. And on that note, let's make some things easy and let Anchor make some money with some advertisements, and we'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for bearing with me here. There's a reason this platform is free. They have to pay for it somehow. Anyway, let's check out another call. This one is from Sherlock Holmes. Let's listen.
Hi, this is Sherlock Holmes. I have come to answer your question about why I like camping. I like camping most of the time because it's around a body of water. I get to chase the ducks, go swimming if I want. The other reasons are earthing, which may sound a little weird, but I like to walk barefoot around earth, obviously. It may seem a little silly, but It grounds me, makes me feel more whole, less stressed. I also like it because it's portable compared to a hotel room, but most of the time when you're in hotels, you're in cities, and camping is supposed to be about nature. Anyway, if you choose me, I'll be more than happy to elaborate. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sherlock Holmes. I have a feeling I know this caller. I love you. That was a good call. I do understand people's need to feel connected with nature. Now, I don't necessarily feel that pull as much as some others do, but I do like the outdoors. I like, fresh air and birds chirping and not having to hear a car drive down the street, or horns honking or police sirens. I do like the peace that you get when you're, say, in the woods. It is nice. It's refreshing. It's cleansing. I just personally don't feel the need to be around it constantly. So I think that's where I differ with the caller. I like bricks and pavement and, things happening around me. I enjoy it. I don't know why I'm different like that from the caller, but I get bored really easily. And to be honest, I have a grill in my backyard if I want to cook out, and there are state parks within, an hour and a half of here all over the place that I can go visit nature and then come back home. Or if I have a further, destination in mind, I can go visit there and then get in the car and drive to a hotel and go to a restaurant for dinner. I think another reason that camping's weird to me is the fact that I like quiet when it's time to go to sleep, and it has never felt quiet enough. I don't like to hear things rustling around in trees or weird, unexplained animal noises happening while I'm trying to drift off to sleep. So I think I remember, I'll tell you a story. Sherlock Holmes and I went camping at, I think it was Gulf State Park in South Alabama, right down by the, by the Gulf of Mexico. And one night we were trying to sleep after we had gotten back from the beach. By the way, that was also after we went and ate at a pretty nice seafood restaurant. I didn't cook out that day. So, score one for bricks and pavement. Well, we got back to our campsite, and we're laying down trying to sleep, and we heard what was more than likely an alligator making a mating call from just beyond the tree line behind our tent. And we called the management of the campground, and we're asking them, what the heck do we do? There's an alligator in the trees behind us. And here's where the story actually got funny. So I guess it's the game warden, maybe, came down to check on our plot, where we were camping, and apparently the alligator had moved on. But we were talking to the guy, and I was wearing an Alabama football T-shirt, it was just what I had on. And the guy looks at my shirt and he says, "Oh, you're a Tide fan." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm absolutely." And he's like, "Do you know who Bob Baumhauer is?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, sure. He was a little before my time, but I'm familiar with the Wings restaurant as well. I knew he played football there." And he looked at me and said, "Well, Bob Baumhauer's my brother." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, yeah, he's my brother." And sure enough, the guy's name was Baumhauer. I don't know what that has to do with this show, but it was an interesting story. But I go back to the alligator part. I don't want to sleep that close to an alligator. I don't want something crawling up into my tent, taking my foot off, while I'm trying to sleep. And plus, that noise they make is really irritating. So give me a hotel room, because I can stand somebody stomping around and the occasional noisy sex from a room down the hallway. We've got one more call, and I think I saved maybe the deepest one for last. This one made me think for a moment. This one's from Alan from Manitou Springs, Colorado, and let's hear what he has to say about it.
So I did camping because it's a way to reset. Did it when I was younger. Gets you away from the noise. Helps you get connected again, reset. And I remember after Afghanistan, spent 13 months over there. And once I got back, I would do some backcountry camping here in Colorado, and I would carry a loaded 12-gauge strap to my pack. But I don't do that anymore because I feel safe again. But again, it's a chance to remind us, what we really are, and just how connected we are to everything. Have a good one.
All right, Alan, thank you. That was a great call. He goes on to tell me in a private message, my first proper backcountry camping trip was in Colorado in '92. A road trip from Birmingham. Blew me away. We saw cougar tracks on the trail on the way down from our campsite in Rocky Mountain National Park. Looks like it tracked us all the way up. We never saw it. Learned about the importance of proper fitting boots, good camp stoves, and packing as practically light as possible. Being exposed to lots of backcountry camping helped me in Afghanistan when we'd spend lots of time out in the mountains on our own for a couple or few days at a time. Learning how to arrange your gear and not tie your boots too tight. Using wool in places like Washington State opened my eyes to gear choice, old school versus new. Tech is cool, but we should always know how to use a map and compass. He goes on to tell me, it helps my racing brain. It's always been an asset and a liability. That shit slows down outdoors. Lastly, it's good therapy for PTSD and anxiety. I talk openly about it. We always said, trust your azimuth, literally and metaphorically. Well, first I'd like to say thank you for your service, Alan, and thank you for volunteering so much information. This was a great call and a great follow-up. I've never really thought of camping as a good tool for PTSD therapy. And I guess I've been lucky in my life. I've never really suffered any kind of overly traumatic experience like that. Nothing that I feel like has scarred me, or really stayed with me. I can usually shrug things off, and it's pretty easy when, nothing happens. So, I've never really thought of it in that way. And I mean, just knowing how to survive, I can get behind that. I don't really think the world's going to end anytime soon, but you never know. Anyway, Alan, thank you for the call. By the way, Colorado, beautiful country up there. I lived in Denver for about a year and a half, and enjoyed everything I saw out there. So, kudos on that. Well, that was our last call. So I guess I should go ahead and set up for next week. This one I'm going a little harder on. I gave a softball question for the first show because I wasn't really sure where we were going to go with this. But next week, maybe we can think a little more. So I've never like even, and of course I don't do it now, but even when I was single, I never left my house with the intention of getting laid. Well, not never, but almost never. But I know some people who absolutely live for it. And, it hasn't been that much of a driving factor in my life. Sex doesn't inspire me to do things I wouldn't normally do. And I like sex just like the next guy. It just doesn't rule my life. So my question is, why is sex such a great motivator? And let's see what we can come up with next week. Give me a call. Give me an answer. The voicemail hotline number is 205-530-0354. That's 205-530-0354. You can find me on Twitter at WhyIsPod. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at WhyIsThisPodcast. And if you prefer email, whyisthispod@gmail.com. Let me know what you think, and I'm looking forward to your call. And until next time, always ask why.